Ladies, listen carefully. You can love a man. You can trust a man. You can even build a future with him. But if you tell him everything, you hand him the map to destroy you. And trust me, even the best man can turn into a stranger one day. So here's the golden rule. Love deeply, but reveal selectively. Pause for effect. Let's talk about the 8 things you should never ever tell a man, no matter how much you think you can trust him. There's a reason they call it deepest insecurities. Because they live in the deepest part of you, the part you don't just hand over to anyone. You can give a man your smile, your heart, your laughter, but your insecurities, you must guard them like they are sacred gold. Because the moment you reveal them carelessly, you place a loaded gun in someone's hand and hope they never pull the trigger. Let me tell you something real. Maybe you're insecure about your body, that tiny scar you got from falling off a bike when you were 7, or those few extra pounds you gained after a heartbreak that almost crushed you. You laugh it off in front of your friends, you hide it under makeup, under baggy clothes, under jokes. And then one night you're sitting next to him, heart open like a book, and you say, "Sometimes I hate my body." You think you're sharing intimacy. You think you're building trust. But what you don't realize is that someday, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, if that love turns to anger, he might weaponize your own words against you. A careless comment, a cold fight, and suddenly you'll hear him say, "Maybe if you took better care of yourself, you'd feel better." That wound, you gave him the knife. A woman must protect her insecurities because they are born from the battles she's fought, battles nobody even saw. The nights she cried herself to sleep. The mornings she dragged herself out of bed when the world felt too heavy. The silent wars she fought inside her mind just to show up and smile. These are sacred, raw pieces of your soul. And you don't hand those out like free samples in a grocery store. I met a girl once. She was brilliant, top of her class. Fierce, unstoppable. But she was insecure about her accent. English wasn't her first language, and every time she spoke in meetings, she thought people were judging her. One day she fell in love with a man who promised he loved her, just the way she was. And she told him about her fear. At first he comforted her, but months later, in the heat of an argument, he sneered. "No wonder no one takes you seriously. They can barely understand you." That one sentence, it didn't just cut her. It bled every inch of her confidence dry. Why? Because she gave him the blueprint to break her. And he used it. Your insecurities are not for everyone's consumption. They are the fingerprints of your soul. Your body, your childhood wounds, your hidden fears. These are things a man must earn the right to see, not be handed on the first tray of trust. Imagine if Beyoncé walked into a room and announced, "I'm scared I'm not good enough." Imagine if Oprah said on stage, "I doubt my own voice." Imagine if Priyanka herself whispered in every interview, "I'm worried people won't accept me." Would we see them the same way? Number. Because part of their power is that they understood the world does not get to feast on your fears. You overcome them in silence. You build your empire in silence. You show up powerful, graceful, untouchable, and you let your work, your aura, your energy speak louder than your doubts ever could. Another example, I once watched a woman absolutely annihilate a room with her confidence. Flawless speech, power in her posture, charisma dripping from her every move. Later, I overheard someone asking her, "Aren't you nervous before these events?" She smiled and said, "Of course I am. But my nerves are none of your business. My job is to own the room, not to make it pity me." Do you feel that? That's strength. That's royalty. That's what every woman must remember. If you're insecure about your looks, your voice, your past, keep it private. Work on it. Heal it. Grow beyond it. But don't hand it to a man hoping he'll hold it with tenderness. Even the kindest hands can turn rough when the heart changes. When you tell a man about your insecurities, you unknowingly shrink your own power in his eyes. He may never say it aloud, but a part of him starts seeing you through the lens of your own fears instead of the magnificence you really are. So, stand tall, smile, laugh, love, but protect your scars like the treasures they are. They are proof you survived. They are proof you are still standing when so many others fell. You owe no man, no friend, no lover the full map of your inner battles until you know without a doubt that they will cherish it like a sacred scroll. And even then, hold a piece back for yourself. Because a queen is never fully known. She is adored, she is admired, she is loved, but she is never entirely unmasked. Not everything that touches your soul should be available for the world to poke. There are parts of you, raw and trembling, that must be protected like sacred ground. Your emotional triggers are not weaknesses, they are scars that have stories behind them. Stories only the worthy deserve to hear. And even then, maybe not all of it. Maybe never all of it. I once met a woman who was fierce on the outside, laughter that filled the room, confidence that made heads turn. But inside her, there was a silent place where the wounds still bled, abandonment. She carried it like a ghost on her shoulders. And when she trusted the wrong man, she shared it too early, too openly. She told him, "If you ever ignore me when I need you, I'll fall apart." And what did he do when he got angry? Exactly that. He ignored her. Not because she deserved it, but because some people, when they see your buttons, feel tempted to push them. Because power handed over recklessly is almost always abused. When you tell a man what breaks you without knowing if he knows how to protect what's precious, you give him a sword and point to your heart. And not everyone is noble enough to sheath it. I remember this girl who had been betrayed deeply, once a best friend, a partner, even family. Trust was sacred to her, carved out of years of healing. In the beginning of her next relationship, she wanted to be honest. So she said, "If you ever lie to me, I'll never recover." And when push came to shove, he lied. Not because she wasn't worthy of honesty, but because he knew now exactly where the fatal blow would land. There is a power in mystery, in not giving someone the blueprint to your breakdown. Not because you're fake, but because you're wise. You are not obligated to show every crack in your foundation to someone who hasn't proven they deserve to build a home in your soul. Imagine walking into a battlefield wearing a neon sign saying, "Here's where it hurts." Would you survive long? Number. Because survival demands that you hold some parts of yourself sacred. The deepest battles are fought in silence, and the greatest strength is often invisible. Your emotional triggers, whether it's fear of being left, fear of not being enough, fear of being lied to, are precious data points about your soul. Not weapons to hand out freely. Not passwords to your heart to be shared recklessly. I once knew a woman who was the queen of calm people, admired how unbothered she was. But deep down, disrespect triggered her like nothing else. The smallest slight, a dismissive tone, could shatter her inside. But she never exposed that trigger. She moved silently. When someone crossed her unspoken line, she didn't scream, she didn't fight. She withdrew her energy, her time, her soul. She understood. Your emotional triggers are warnings for you, not invitations for others. There's a moment in every relationship where you're tempted to overshare, to spill your heart hoping it makes someone love you deeper. But vulnerability without discernment is not intimacy, it's exposure. And exposure without protection can break even the strongest heart. When you teach someone how to hurt you, some will resist the temptation, but others in moments of weakness will not. They will pick up the weapon you handed them and forget that it was meant to be treated like glass, not stone. There is a woman I admire whose life was a string of emotional abuse masked as jokes. Partners who knew what made her cry and used it like ammunition. Until one day, she woke up. She realized that the problem wasn't that she felt too much. The problem was that she trusted the wrong hands with the most fragile parts of her. So she changed. She built her emotional castle brick by brick. She still loved deeply, but she guarded